The Saturday mothers were again attacked by the police in the 944th week of their search for justice in Galatasaray Square. 25 people who wanted to make a statement in the square, which has been banned for 243 weeks without interruption despite the violation decree of the Constitutional Court, were detained. 5 people, including Dicle Fırat Journalists Association co-chair Dicle Müftüoğlu and Mesopotamia Agency editor Sedat Yılmaz, were arrested after being detained among 19 people in house raids in 15 cities within an Ankara-based investigation. The police attacked journalists who wanted to hold a press statement in Kadıköy district of Istanbul for their colleagues detained and arrested in Diyarbakır and Ankara-based operations. 6 journalists were detained. In the World Press Freedom Index, published annually by the Reporters Without Borders, Turkey has fallen from the country of problematic countries to countries where press freedom is dire, ranking among the countries with the sharpest global decline. Turkey, which was ranked 99th in the index in 2002, the year the Justice and Development Party came to power, has fallen 16 places in the last year and ranked 165th among 180 countries. According to the data of the Journalists Union of Turkey, 47 journalists are in prison. 97 journalists were detained and 32 journalists were arrested in the last year in Turkey. 263 journalists were put on trial in 125 separate criminal cases, and in 35 finalized cases, journalists were sentenced to 55 years, 1 month and 21 days in prison. 4,148 news articles and 46 news websites were blocked from access. According to data from the Independent Communication Network, at least 195 journalists appeared in court in the first 3 months of the year. 4 journalists were charged with insulting Erdogan, and at least 8 journalists were subjected to new investigations on charges of inciting people to hatred and hostility, making propaganda for a terrorist organization, and disinformation. The first hearing of the lawsuit filed against the Saturday mothers, who were detained during the press statement they wanted to hold on the International Day of the Enforced Disappeared, in August in Altınşehir Cemetery for the Disappeared, where the bodies of Hasan Ocak and Rıdvan Karakoç, who were tortured to death in custody, was held at the Istanbul Küçükçekmece First Criminal Court of First Instance. A lawsuit was filed against arrested Cin News director Safiye Alagaş for terrorist organization membership. The first hearing of the case will be held on July 25th at the Diyarbakır 5th Assize Court. The journalist was accused of reporting on rights violations and torture, as well as statements made. Singer Gülşen, who was arrested on charges of inciting the public to hatred and hostility and then released on house arrest, was sentenced to 10 months in prison. A lawsuit was filed against a 13-year-old on the charge of insulting the president. A lawsuit was filed against 42 people who were beaten and detained during the Pride Parade in Ankara in July last year due to violating the law No. 2911 on meetings and demonstrations. The first hearing will be held on May 11th at the Ankara 52nd Criminal Court of First Instance. A lawsuit was filed against 21 students who were detained during a demonstration organized in front of 9 Eylül University Rectorate in February to protest the online education practice at universities due to the earthquake. The first hearing will be held on May 8th at the Izmir 28th Criminal Court of First Instance. 192 people who wanted to go to Taksim Square and Istiklal Street, which were banned on May 1st, Labor Day, as well as journalist Zeynep Kuray, were beaten and detained. On the other hand, the police detained 29 people for carrying banners and posters during the May Day rally in Maltepe. In 2015, when he was the district governor of Tekman district in Erzurum, Lütfullah Ün, who banned the use of any language other than Turkish in public offices with a letter he sent to public institutions, issued an access block order 8 years later against 37 news articles and tweets on the issue. The Ankara 8th Criminal Judicature of Peace also censored the Human Rights Association's 2015 Human Rights Violations Report. The Istanbul Anatolian 4th Criminal Judicature of Peace blocked 79 news articles and articles about Mustafa Doğan Ünal, the former lawyer of President Erdogan who came to the agenda with bribery allegations. Ünal had previously had hundreds of news articles about him censored with 9 separate decrees issued by 5 different Istanbul Anatolian Criminal Judicatures of Peace.